Well, the New England Patriots lost another game, this time to the Raiders, who both on paper and in real life look beatable. Now the Patriots are looking ahead to the Bills and the Dolphins, who are probably going to be losses, meaning we are going to be heading into the second half of this season probably with just one win. To me, it looks like the team is in what I call a death spiral, which I get from my profession, which is in death spiral financing, which is usually found in small cap companies that have debt and have structured that to be paid off in convertible debt, which is conversion into shares. So they have to dilute, they have to add shares to the total float that is out there. And what happens is the shareholders say, hey, I'm going to be diluted extensively. I'm going to be left with nothing. I'm going to sell, which then brings the share price down to nothing, forcing the company to have to print out more and more shares than they should, because what they're trying to use to pay it off is worth basically nothing. Now, in those cases, it's a death spiral because all that's happening is ultimately what's going to happen is that company's going to fall apart unless everybody sits down, the management and the ownership, and which would be shareholders, and the board of directors say, what are we going to do to get rid of it or clean this up? Right? How are we going to break up the company? How do we do a turnaround? What's the inflection point that we can look at, and hopefully that will be the trigger to turn this around and hopefully keep the company alive. Now, that comes from a plane, right? The idea of the death spiral comes from a plane death spiraling towards the ground. And it's because the pilot really can't do anything. Once it starts to spiral, things go faster, go flying down, spinning faster and faster and faster, more and more out of control. And the pilot just has to get out and ditch because there's either a mechanical problem or there's a structural problem, like the wing snaps off or something, right? But we all know what's going to have to happen. There's no way, there's no maneuver, there's no switch that the pilot can do to turn things around. We're at the point of no return. Bringing it back to the Patriots. The mechanical problems is not really having the good enough talent, right? And there's also the structural problem, which is the injuries. What is good is now broken. Now, there's also the play calling and the game management, which is not matching up with the quality talent on the field. Right? We're trying to do something that we can't because it's not there. There's also just the penalties, the bad execution. There's also just some bad luck in there as well. But it adds to desperation. Now, this is the problem. It's obvious this is happening. It's obvious to the team, the players, the coaching staff, the ownership, other teams in the league. And, of course, it's obvious to the fans. Nothing's working. Everything is, a dead end in many ways. The injuries, the elevations, the roster moves, everything seems to be getting worse and worse and worse, and it's spiraling. And it's relentless volatility that ultimately leads to a collapse or capitulation, where you just have to say, it's done. Stop fighting. Stop trying to flip switches and, try to turn out of the spiral. Stop trying to find ways to finance. It's out of control. There's no way of recovering the value in the share price. It's better just to chop things up and save what you have. Right? Save the core value. Because there's just too many injuries in terms of the Patriots. There's just too much of the top talent is just melted. They're done. There's so many guys that are they're done. They either mentally or physically are just done. And there's the obvious issues, which is we don't have the structure around Mac and he can't elevate. So the offense it's just broken. And the schedule isn't really getting better. So we can't say there's better seas ahead because you have probably two more losses, which will probably put you out of contention for the division. And also just put you in a situation where you're going in the second half, you'd have to completely win out like the rest of the season, essentially, to possibly limp into the playoffs. It seems unrecoverable. And the efforts to prolong only prevent a reset under favorable terms. Now, we have a hard reset coming up ahead, which is essentially the 2024 offseason, right? There should be roughly around $100 million in cap. That's because some of our top players and basically half our team, essentially, or at least our roster, is up for contract. You got Bourne, you got Henry, you got Duggar, Onwenu, Uche, Trent Brown, you got Zeke and Gesicki in there as well. There's other guys that are important like Jennings, Farrell Brown is in there, Ty Montgomery, Mills. There's a lot of guys that'll be up for contract. Now, that's a problem because obviously you have to at least sign a good chunk of them just to field a team. Because it's going to be hard to believe we're going to bring in that many new players next season and not be dysfunctional. But then there's also another issue there, which is, hey, these guys know you've got $100 million coming up. And they're on the team. And unfortunately, they know that you have $100 million, so they're going to be asking for more money. And they could in some cases. Because, crazy enough, Henry's probably the top tight end in the free agent class, if not one of the top 3. And Gesicki's probably top 5, top 10. Even Farrell Brown's probably in the top half of tight end in the free agencies. Uche will probably be near the top. Trent Brown will be near the top. Bourne will be after some of the really top talent that'll be out there. But still, probably enough of these guys that are going to go out there and get paid a lot more. Bourne's probably going to sit there and say, well, if they're getting that much, I should probably getting something in this range, which will probably still be an elevation of what they have now, what he's getting paid now. Now, Duggar and Onwenu, arguably one of the best guards in free agency. Duggar will probably definitely be the best strong safety being out there. Now, yeah, I don't know about Zeke. I think the running back free agent class will be solid. But point being is, there's like, you got a lot of guys that are going to ask for more at the end of the season. And they're not really helping you out really right now because you're probably only one game away from really being out of this completely. And the trade deadline is October 31st, I believe, this year, which would be Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We play on Sunday the 29th, so that gives you 1 day essentially to unload these guys, to make the decision to do it. Now, if you win both those games, you might actually be a buyer, but we're not going to get into that today. So anyway, bringing that back. There's the hard reset, which is the 2024 offseason. You have to start signing some of these guys, but you're also going to have to probably let go of some of these guys. Now, can we get rid of some of them now and kind of start what I was saying, which is that reset under favorable terms? Now, yes, I don't like giving up on a season. This is not what anybody wants. But I'm going to be a little bit more despondent about the second half of the season if we don't do anything to change things up. Because as a fan, watching something, I want to be entertained. I want to look for, like, I saw when Malik Cunningham was listed as QB2, I was excited. Because I know that running what we're doing right now, the gears are not connecting. They're not there. There's ones that have been worn away, and there's some gears that are completely missing out of this machine. It's not there. And no matter how much we press on the pedal or pull up on the stick, there's things just not working. We're in the death spiral. Now, we need to let what it is now just crash, and we should just bail and try to save what we can while we can. Because the tighter it goes, and the quicker and the closer we get to that ground, the faster it's going to come, and the less likely you're going to be able to do anything about it. And the less you're going to be able to save. Right? So, if we can look to, I'm not going to say fire sale, because I don't think that's the way to go. But if you can pick a few of these guys that you're in negotiations with them right now, obviously. It's not going well. You're looking at the free agent class. You know these guys are going to be asking for lots of money. You look at them, you're like, well, I mean, are you replaceable for a good price? There's a lot of guys that are on this team that I like. I like them a lot. There's some of these guys that we might lose this offseason. I'd rather not. But here's the problem. You're going to lose them probably anyway. There's at least some of them, they're going to walk. They're going to either make the decision not to be on this team and get paid decently well, or they're going to get offered way too much. And the Patriots are, I think, smartly not going to pay for it because you can go to this draft, which is incredibly deep. So what do? Let's just take a second and do a couple mock drafts when we're trying to trade and see how that can help us out. All right, doing some mock drafts here. Now we're down to 6. We lost the game and we actually dropped down the board. What we're going to be doing is looking for trading some of our guys. Now, I think Uche is probably top of my list right now to get some value for him. Well, we're going to go contenders, right? What contenders need him? And hopefully contenders like Dallas. Dallas might be able to handle this. Dallas. 86, 122. That's not bad. And then maybe a 4th. Too much. Okay. Actually, I'm probably good with that anyway. Okay. Trade again. Gesicki might be movable. Who needs a tight end that's in our division, though? Oh, no. There we go. The Bucks. The Bucks. No. But you know what? I think a 4th and then... Yeah. I don't think that's enough value. That's not enough either. Alright, so maybe hold on to Gesicki? No, I don't think we have to hold on to Gesicki. Hunter Henry's good. I hate to see Gesicki just go though right away. Guy can play. Gets the most separation of any of our receivers or pass catchers. Now, I don't think the Washington Commanders are going to be buyers here. Texans, probably not. Alright, so maybe Gesicki's someone we can't move. But let's go back to him if we can't get anybody else at a good value. Let's go Bourne. Yikes. Bourne till probably like the Chiefs is probably the best. Or again, the Eagles. Let's go to the Eagles first. Yeah, let's go for it. Huh. No way then. Actually, you know, we're probably we're gonna have to cave here. Yeah, I'll have to cave. We have to get a bit more. Give some of the other guys a chance. Trent Brown would. I don't think. You know what? Actually, Onwenu is probably a better. I know probably the ankle injury, but you know what? The 49ers. 49ers might be players here. Oh, yeah. I dealt with that, right? Yeah, so let's do this. It's too much, but the 130? No, 177. Maybe. No? Okay, so let's actually... 100? 213? The 177 is going to be what we want. Okay. That's just PFF playing games. And if that's that's what they're gonna do, that's what we're gonna do. All right, that's obviously not optimized. I'm just trying to get through stuff here. So, although I really like Brock Bowers, I think tackles are still going to be a pressing issue, and I think it's another death spiral situation, which is this is how you kind of start the reset, which is just getting a guy who plays the position that you need and is really good at it. Now, we probably do need a tight end. We're going to need edge players. We're going to need wide receivers. We're going to need a quarterback. We're going to need D tackles. We're going to need just about everything, even corners. Even if the guy's coming back next year, you still need depth there. So none of this, like, you move back, you trade back. These guys, it's going to be so... The best move probably is always going to be trading back this year because it's such a target-rich environment. You're going to be moving back. There's no way... You're going to have more picks that are valued where you're going to want to move back that you think is good value there. And if they can give you, like, even a third-round pick, it's probably worth it this year because you're just going to need so much ammo. But we are going to pull the trigger on this guy because we need him desperately. Now, could we get J.C. Latham or Barton? Yeah, or Marius Mims, probably. But we're going with the free agent trading so you guys can see what we're doing. Michael Penix is probably going to be picked in the first round. Riley Leonard might be probably not a first-round pick unless, I mean, he's injured right now, so he's more likely. There's a few other guys that'll probably make their move up. Shedeur Sanders is probably going to stay in college one more year and, try to collect some more watches. But J.J. McCarthy, I don't have him here. I have him, as a third-rounder. Jaden Daniels, let's actually take a look at the QBs real quick. Quinn Ewers is hot and cold. Jaden Daniels is where I think he could start coming up into these 40 range, and I think that'd be a good pick for us. Now, getting Cam Ward in the third would be great, or the fourth. KJ Jefferson and Joe Milton in the third or fourth is also I'm okay with. Now everybody's, well, you gotta go get a quarterback. Well, here's the thing, our quarterback doesn't matter who you get. If you want next year to be good and you don't want them to go through the same death spiral again, you're gonna have to get a tackle. You're probably gonna want to get a tight end. Now wide receivers, there's still plenty of them. And there's fast, there's big, there's I'm going to probably hopefully get him if we can get him. But tight end wise, Jatavian Sanders is very much like a Mike Gesicki's younger, probably a little more athletic too. The question is, can we get? Where's Jaheim Bell? See, if that's the way it's gonna go, Kate Stover, Jaheim Bell, I think, are probably valued here a little bit more. Are better, more accurate. So what's that do for us? Do we go for do we go with Riley Leonard? I think Riley Leonard could be here. Or do we? Yeah, let's be smart. Let's say the Patriots like Riley Leonard. I don't know if they will, but let's just say they do. I'm not Jalen. I'm not him. I'm not with that guy. But I'm also considering one of these three guys again. Cedric Van Pran. All right, let's just do this. Move back a few spots and see if you can give that to me for that. Lost Sturdivant. That's fine though, because I can still do this. Him valued there is fine. Troy Franklin's even probably a better pick for us. Sorry that I'm moving fast. Okay, so Kamara's still up there. Blake Fisher, Corey Clark. So if I had to put something we should probably think about, maybe Audric Estime would probably be a good idea. Roman Wilson's also another great wide receiver to consider too. I think the Corian's probably a little bit more of a I'm struggling because it's a target-rich environment. do that. Ismail Mondoon's really good coverage linebacker. Howard Cross is also another good pickup. Jaheim Bell, we can pick him up with probably not going to be able to pick him up with the next pick. We are going to miss out on getting a good coverage linebacker, though, if we don't pick him up now. He's pretty good, too. Okay, let's do this. I'm not going to worry about Jaheim Bell. I'm going to go after Kate Stover if he's still there. Jaheim Bell's still there, too. All right, so let's do... If he's still there, let's go with Will Shipley for the wide... Oh, you know what? Kate Stover's going to get picked. Nope, is he there? Did he go? He did. Damn it. Yeah, I have to go with Keith Randolph at 138. Goodbye. Need to get that pass-catching running back. Shipley's definitely the dude. Another depth at corner, D-tackle. Bywater's good, too. Jeez. Ricky in the fourth is a great pickup. Steve Linton, all these guys are solid. Malachi Moore in the fourth round. This is just, while we're here, just want you to know, like, I would be happy with him in like the second or third round as a tackle. Like, and we're at 160s here. Like, this guy is a third round pick. Bryce Foster is probably the second or third best center. You're gonna give him the 170s. Jacob Cowling is a solid slot receiver. So, and he's a big bodied receiver too. It's unbelievable. But Keith Randolph is, I think I'm going to have to go with him. He's solid, though, too. There's more D tackles out there. I think if I'm looking at the corners here that they have in this that's left here, yeah, I think we have to go with Mike. Keith Randolph might have been a better... I don't know. But now this was, again, keep in mind, this isn't free agents. This is what happens when you just get enough ammo and how you can reload your team. And this is the time to do it. I know JT Clark, DeCorian Clark, you probably don't know him. Go watch his vid, man. The tape, the guy on that guy is solid. Ismail Mondon, this guy. Good coverage linebacker. You're getting him in the fourth round. People would have killed to have a good linebacker last year. It was so thin. Will Shipley, shifty, fast, good hands. Again, just quick, athletic, pass-catching running back. Get him in the fourth round. Beautiful. Depth at corners. And he's fast, too. And he can play a little safety. There's your new edge guy. Leader in the FBS in terms of sacks. This guy's probably fringe first, second round draft pick last year. Right? There's your quarterback. You know, that was an example of getting him in the second, but hey, you got that and you got two tackles. You can get rid of your other tackles now, let them go. Right? These guys will add depth. You can move other things around. There's some guys that are playing, tackle that might be able to play guard. We can think about Reef and Anderson, what we can do there. I don't know. It's just, those are guys you can probably let up this year. I mean, Wheatley's injured, unfortunately, so now we're back to being thin at that position. But maybe Vidarian Lowe can do well next year and he can be your backup. Who knows? But next year, it's just a coming down. You got to stop the actually, I shouldn't say stop the death spiral. The death spiral's done. Like, it's coming to terms that years ago, like, obviously, if you want to start how the death spiral start was obviously, if you want, most people are going to say, hey, it was who? Getting rid of Brady. But okay, Brady was done. Let's start how it really started to accelerate. Like, it was actually in the death spiral, and one thing led to another, and it was a problem. Shaq Mason, giving him away from a bag of balls, forcing you to draft Cole Strange, right? Forcing for us to draft Cole Strange, which is not working out really well. And I'm not blaming Cole Strange. There's some of that bad luck going on. But the problem was you didn't really need to get rid of Shaq Mason. By doing that, forced you to draft a guard in the first round. Didn't need to do that. Right? Now the next one, which I'm going to say there's a little hindsight idea in there, which is getting rid of Jacoby Myers. I at the moment, not that I was happy we got rid of Jacoby, I was good with us signing Juju. My thing was, why didn't we keep Jacoby as well? I thought the money would be there. And we know the money was kind of there because you know what? We were still sniffing around for DeAndre Hopkins, who you skipped on as well. Instead of going with Hopkins, you went with Parker. You extended him. So you have the Shaq Mason decision, the Jacoby Myers decision, the Hopkins decision, and the thing is in order to address the decision of letting those guys go or walk or not sign them, the next thing was also a problem too. The Cole Strange was a problem. The Juju Smith-Schuster is a problem. The Parker extension is a problem. And I think the most egregious out of all these was the one you're standing there and you're looking at DeJuan Jones, picking him up in the 4th round of the draft this past year. This guy's a rookie who looks like an all-pro for the Browns, and we picked Jake Andrews. Nothing against Jake Andrews, but Jake Andrews could have still been there 3 picks, 10 picks, 20 picks later, right? We still picked up Mafi and So later on. And in my opinion, if David Andrews was to go down, you would just hopefully maybe Cole Strange could handle that and you put one of the guards in there. So my point is that you had DeJuan Jones sitting right there, who's a solid right tackle, who, yes, I know didn't have a great interview process. There was questions about things. But in the 4th round, you're like, well, this guy's a 1st round talent. Yeah, he's not looking too good. You can burn a 4th round talent. Now, one could say, well, we did that with Jake Andrews, where, we're just trying it out. Hopefully it looks good. But wouldn't you want to take the guy with a lot more ceiling? Like, I mean, wasn't that the better option? Anyway. Ugh. Brutal. Joe Wall, this is solid. This is a good draft. This is how you fix things. Yeah, we didn't get good values for Bourne. Yeah, we didn't get much with Onwenu. And Onwenu's better than, I guess, other guys. But Uche, trade back a little bit here just to get one more. That's fine. Let's just do one where it's just nothing but what we got. What they're going to give us, right? Just so you can see what happens if you just trade back a little bit. Now, I would just instantly pick Olu here. But let's see if we can trade back to the Keon Coleman area. It's going to have to be the Packers. They're not going to be able to give us too much here. Coleman. Johnny Wilson, in my opinion. Kalen Bulk is really good. But let's do... We gotta get this guy. Jordan Morgan. There's left and right tackles taken care of. Jake Daniels. TJ Tampa's probably what we should be going with here. Yeah. Just got to do it, guys. Just got to get a solid corner. Him being down that far is just crazy. Javian Cohen might be a good pickup. Trey Harris is probably the better pick here, though. Trey Harris still here is a good pick. Yeah. So a little bit, again, a little bit too heavy on offense, but just again, I'm just trying to show you why we should be trying to load up and essentially hitting the reset button now. Now, let's talk about that. What happens if we do sell off, right? And that leaves us holes. Again, this is rapid fire. It's just showing you where we can get. Don't take this as exactly what we want to be drafting. But if you sell off, what do you do? Because now you're losing guys. What do? In my opinion, you start poaching players off other teams' practice squads. Right? So there's actually a lot of guys, like we have some solid guys that, I mean, are on our practice squad that probably could be on some other team's 53-man roster. Right? But then you go into the idea, you got to bring them in, you got to teach them, right? You got to get them up to speed with, your strategy, how you do things, your system, all that, right? Which can be hard for anybody on either side of the ball, right? Just about maybe kickers and punters and a few D tackles. I'm not saying being D tackles easy, but there's some things that are a little bit more insertable. Sometimes you can get a wide receiver that can be inserted, right? If it's the right pick, and obviously that has to be on both sides. But picking somebody up off the practice squad, why would we want to be doing that? Is because you can probably get some guys that are and were drafted higher than some of the guys that you have on your team right now that maybe you were looking at. Now, you just gave up guys for draft picks. That's leaving 53-man roster spots open that need to be filled. Now, you might have some of your practice squad guys you want to bring up, right? You can sign Rager up. Who else would have? It's been, because I think Rager's out of elevations. D tackles, farms, right? There's a few guys out there that we want, but there's also some guys out there that are just straight up floating, waiting to possibly being picked up on a practice squad. Now, I've pointed out a few guys several times. I'm still a big fan of Derek Parrish. He just seems to be a guy the Patriots might be able to really use. Now, he's raw for the position they're having him play right now. He's on the Jags practice squad. They have him listed as a tight end, but he's shown some ability to play some H-back, fullback. But he's also a really good DN. Now, he had a bicep injury last year, so I don't know what they would be wanting to do there. But obviously, he's a depth piece at special teams, and maybe he's something that comes in and he can just help you with the blocking. He's a battling ram. He's a physical freak, like super explosive, powerful, and he's aggressive. He's got a high motor. That's a guy you maybe want to think about bringing in. Zach Kuntz from the Jets, a tight end. If you really want to get rid of Gesicki, maybe you can, bring in Zach Kuntz. He's coming off a knee injury. But, at this point, the guy's 6'7", I think, or he's 6'8". And almost, I think he came close to hitting a 10 out of 10 on the RAS score. He was an absolute monster at the combine. Truman Jones, D tackle, D end, or he's actually more of an edge player from the Chiefs. Again, another physical freak, really good tape from Harvard. Just sitting there. At least you can bring him in and have a shot. Wide receiver Xavier Smith sitting on the Rams. More of a slot guy, but quick, shifty, very good feet, explosive. Somebody, again, to be looking at. There's a whole bunch more, and I'm not going to go through it. I did in the previous video, but just to name a few others that might be working out here, especially if you're trying to replace guys that you possibly would get rid of. There's, let's see, offensive tackle wise or guard wise, you got Jackson Kirkland could be in there. Anybody else to consider? Not really. Edge wise, there's a bunch of edge players you can probably consider. There's also Jose Ramirez, who's on the Bucs. Let's see, Ben Van Sumeren, he'd be a decent idea to consider. If you're looking for depth at the corner or safety, you got Caleb Hayes from the Giants. Linebacker, actually, Shaka Hayward would probably be a really good idea. He's sitting out there. He's an awesome linebacker. He played for Duke. He's on the Bengals practice squad right now. Now, he could play actual middle linebacker, but also is really good in terms of rushing. Again, just somebody you can pick up. At this point, you're just trying to find guys who are still could be development, could be, show you something in the second half of the season. The Raiders have McClendon Curtis as a guard. He's also a possibility. These guys you can go look up. Levi Bell is actually an interesting guy to play on edge. He'd be more of a down guy if Keon White's out for a while. Trevor Nowaski from the Lions. He's a good edge outside linebacker. Thomas Rush from the Titans. He's interesting. Very quick, fast guy. There's also a bunch of guys that are just out there in terms of free agents that got released that are solid. I like Griffin Hebert. He's a good tight end, H-back, fullback that's out there. Jadakiss Bonds is just sitting out there. Another guy that I constantly keep pointing out is Ike Erebor. He's a D3 guy, but he's a local kid from Massachusetts. And then Ryan Greenhagen as a linebacker. He's also been showing he can play on the opposite side of the ball. Plus, obviously, there's special teams there. So there's dudes to replace. And that would give you a Patriots 2.0 for the second half of the season. I'm okay with that. Now, one might say, like, all these things I'm talking about are very dramatic, or what would you say, hyperbole, overreaction. Okay, sure. That might be true. But I'm, as a fan, and thinking of as a strategy here, shouldn't you be trying to raise capital for a very strong draft class as much as you possibly can? And then also still, in a way, kind of retroactively tapping into a versatile draft that came out last year? If you can pick off Zach Kuntz from the Jets practice squad, and Truman Jones from the Chiefs practice squad, and Derek Parrish, Xavier Smith, some of these guys that are actually could be on Shaka Hayward, Jackson Kirkland. I mean, the more I talk about this, it seems to be, why wouldn't you want to unload, get more picks next year, and then give some guys at least half a season of experience that you just picked off the other team's practice squad, that if it doesn't work out, you just let them go. You get rid of them, right? And then you have maybe you have some just turnover on your own practice squad at the end of the season. Like, you got to start getting creative. And if you want to be the chess versus checkers guy, that's probably the way to do it. It seems crazy, but if you talk to, again, going back to the death spiral and how these companies handle death spirals, as shareholders, you're like, do something, because if you don't, things are going to get worse and you're not going to be in an advantageous situation later on at the end of the season. Because again, your guys that you have that are coming up on free agency are probably going to end up walking because they're going to be towards the top of their free agent class. And they're going to see what other guys are getting paid. And they're going to be like, I want that. And you're going to do the classic, no, you ain't worth it. But now you could have got maybe, even if you get like a 4th or 5th round for guys that might be 2nd, 3rd round talent, but it's hard to do that. But if you're at this point in the season and you're looking at this, like these guys, if they're going to ask for more and they're going to come back, they're going to sponge up more of your market, your cap, right? Salary cap. They're going to sponge that up, and you're not going to have a shot at being able to spend more. And maybe if you can do, hey, let's do some draft here. Let's get some guys that are coming off, some sort of free agency / picking them up, poaching them off other teams' practice squads. Maybe you do have money for T. Higgins next year. Maybe we don't have to do 3 wide receivers in this draft. Maybe we can do getting a top level edge rusher, or maybe getting multiple quarterbacks. So you can get Jaden Daniels in the 3rd or 4th round, plus pick up somebody else. I don't know. I'm just putting things out there. But you're going down with a heavy ship right now. It's heavy. Lighten up the load, right? And maybe you can limp into the harbor. Still going to have to take things apart, put it in dry dock, fix things up. That's reality. But we're carrying too much, and it's going to sink us. And you might get closer to the dock, but if you still sink, it's done, right? You got to get there, and hopefully, in a better condition if we hit the reset now. Anyway, I hope this was educational. I know it's a little bit of a rant, and it's gonna be a long video, but at the same time, I just want to talk about how I think you're not alone with the idea of fire sailing. It just needs to be done correctly. And it's not just get rid of Bill, get rid of Mac, get rid of this guy. Anybody who's like aggravating you, just get rid of them. That's not obviously the way just to do it, because you're being emotional about it. But maybe it's other guys that you have to get rid of. I don't know if we can get rid of Parker. The guy annoys me too. Juju Smith-Schuster, the guy's annoying me as well. It's just, where are you? What are you doing? I know these guys are probably not being employed to the best, and obviously Mac's not getting enough time, and the tackle situation on offensive line and the offensive line in general is just so beat up, and it's just dysfunctional. And it's nobody's in it this is their true self, right? Nobody's playing well physically, and they're also not being unlocked properly. Nobody's in a great, perfect environment. We have to accept that. But we're not going to be able to do that unless we kind of get anybody into a good environment until we start shaving things off. We got to sit down at the boardroom and start striking things off the list. How do we keep this thing going? Anyway, again, I hope this was at least educational. If you like this content and how all over the place I am sometimes, please like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.